Well, what a view and what a machine. So first ride out, hope you can hear me, right up the top near Coombe Gibbet in Hampshire. As far as the eye can see, it's one of the highest parts of Hampshire, and here we are on the Fat Chance, Team Fat Chance, you Eddy, you can tell I'm out of breath. Just come up a pretty stiff climb. But how is she performing? Mainly been on the road up until now on this maiden voyage, but oh man, I mean, I didn't even really pump up the tyres too hard, so they're pretty soft. But the suppleness on the road it's exquisite. I was hoping I was going to be a little bit disappointed, because I've heard so much great news about these frames with their domed ends to the chain and seat stays, these forks that are machined and fabricated in a way which shock absorb. These are the big 1-inch fork, as they're known. But it's awesome. And the XTR group set, my word, it's like a Swiss watch movement. It really is. I've never had XTR, and for its time 30 years ago, this was something else. I mean, it is precise, it is slick, every click is beautifully weighted on the shifter. Yeah, it's really awesome. It really complements everything about this bike, which is kind of, I'd say right now, it's kind of finesse. It's about refinement. It's really good. And you know, crap tires and bad wheels can let these things down as well, so let's not discount the fact that this is running on classic Mavic 231s. Can't really beat them with the Syncros hub. These are the white wheels I'm using to ride them out. XTR M900 rear hub, of course. Again, so you know, it's not being let down by any of the other componentry, but it's doing a stunning job. So we're heading off down that trail. We'll see how it fares. There's a bit of an up. You can see those trees there. We're going towards there, and we're heading off to that ridge right in the distance over there. So join me later when we'll see what more we can do. Okay, about another 5-6 k's on, we've reached this ridge, and what do I think now? What have we been on? Done some climbing on like gravel roads like this, and it just eats it up. I mean, I am no climber, as those of you know me will testify. I'm just a little too big boned for any serious amount of climbing, but this thing, again, even though it's been accused by some of my cartel companions that it might be a little small for me, it feels perfect. Super light. You can feel it in between my legs. I mean, I'm no racing snake, but you can feel it underneath you, and the way that it tracks, going through back there's some really kind of deep rutted, you know, that can catch your wheel on the edge. No wider the ruts than like two tire widths, so there's not much margin of error. But the way that it tracks, and the steel just gives enough bite, you know, if you start to flex the frame, or if it starts to get out of line, cornering as well, it just allows the tire to dig in the corners, which when you don't have suspension, sometimes that front end can just be a bit too rigid and just a bit too skittish. But this really bites in. It's really good, and yeah, it feels great. Haven't done any serious downhills. There's a downhill coming up. This now drops down and go across. We'll cross the A34, heading kind of south and east really. So yeah, so we'll head down here. It's really quite choppy and rutted, and lots of stones and rocks actually. So I'll probably take it quite steady. I'm trying to save as much of this paintwork as I can. It does tend to chip a little easy, I was told by the dudes that painted it. I haven't really put any frame protector on yet. Hopefully I've heard a few dings and pings, but nothing too scary or heavy yet. But yeah, she's going very well, and really living up to the reputation, I have to say. Yeah, such a simple thing, but when they do it well, they do it right. So anyway, join me in a bit. Right, so we've just climbed up from here. We've actually come from all the way over there. That was actually that little bank of trees is where I last spoke to you, and then you can see that over there, and that's we've come along across the top there, down that ridge behind there, and then back up along the edge of that line of trees, and up to here, and we're heading off up over this kind of slow drag, which will take us over into the clears. But yeah, there's not really too much to report. What haven't I told you? on those tractor ruts that are about 2 centimetres, 2 or 3 centimetres gap apart, this rolls over really beautifully. Again, I think it comes to that suppleness and that refinement, which I was, as I said before, I was prepared to think was a bit of a myth. But when steel's done well, it can get away with so much. And you know, you would almost swear there's some, a bit like a kind of Roubaix bike, there's almost some elastomers in the frame somewhere here, because just the way it rides. You know, I guess it's the diameter, the thickness of the walls, the way it's machined, the geometry. It's just all right. You know, I guess Chris Chance knew what he was doing, and the True Temper steel knew what it was doing, and yeah, and you know, the components are all performing flawlessly, as you'd imagine. Japan's finest XTR, doing exactly what it needs to do. Even the standard brake box are pretty good, to be fair. No competition, of course, for discs, but this is 1991, and those were just a dream at this point. So yeah, I may do a little more if I don't. This has been the first ride out. I'm going to get home before the sun drops behind that hill, and hopefully you've enjoyed this. I haven't got the right mounts. I have to keep pulling over to actually film anything, of course, because I haven't got any chest mounts or anything for the phone. So no on bike action, but yeah, you don't want to hear me puffing around for 10 minutes. It's not much fun. So off we go up there, and yeah, the Team Fat Chance doing the business.